One, here's what Jamie Dimon thinks is about to happen. Jamie Dimon warns of pre-financial crisis parallels, says some people are doing dumb things. Rob, I don't know if you have a clip on this or not. I think you do. While you're pulling that up, let me read some of this here. JP Morgan Chase issued a warning that some conditions in financial markets are reminding him of the years leading up to the 2008 crisis. And I think the clip that you have goes deeper into it. Is this him speaking, Rob? Or...
Yeah, there's a clip of him in this newscast. It's only 45 seconds.
Dimon says he is starting to see parallels to the era, I can't imagine, this is almost 20 years ago. So before the 2008 GFC, that's a global financial crisis, when a rush to make loans ended, well, as we know now, disastrously. Now, Dimon was responding to a question about fierce competition in the financial industry.
Unfortunately, we did see this in 05, in 06, in 07, almost the same thing. The rising tide was lifting all boats. Everyone was making a lot of money. I don't know how long it's going to be great for everybody. I see a couple of people doing some dumb things. You know, they're just doing dumb things to create NII or say they're, winning in the markets business or something like that.
Tom, do you agree with him?
What he's talking about is that there's a lot of debt sloshing around. Whenever you have asset prices up like this, you also have a lot of debt. You know why that is?
Why?
Because you can use assets as collateral for debt. When people's houses were up crazy, and you had people, it was too easy to get home loans and the home highs was high. You also had people getting a lot of HELOCs, taking money out of it. And you see that here. And when he says NII, he's talking about net interest income. So he's saying, Pat, that there's a lot of net interest income in the market and that there's people doing some dumb things with how they're leveraged. And he's speaking to private equity that uses, there's a lot of cash in private equity, but he's also speaking to private equity that's using 3, 4, 5, 6 turns. As you and I know what that means, Pat. You use 3, 4, 5, 6 times the EBITDA to use debt, and then you're using the rest in cash. So he's pointing out that when it's easy money and assets are high and it's easy to get debt, sometimes people are reckless with debt, and he's absolutely right. Now, does that mean that the whole house of cards falls tomorrow? No, he's issuing a cautionary tale. He doesn't want it to fall because he's a debt issuer. He's a lender, and he's a manager of capital, and he's the biggest.
Well, let me read this to you, and then, Adam, I'm going to come to you on this next one because it kind of goes together. Is panic as one in 7 buyers ditch home purchases at the last minute as fears of 2008-style crash grows. Anxiety is mourning in the housing market after a new report revealed that 1 in 7 home sales fell through last month, a troubling signal that echoes patterns seen in the run-up of the 2008. Redfin data found that nearly 40,000 home sales agreements were canceled in January. That's equivalent to almost 14% of all houses that went under contract. Last month's cancellations rate was up a staggering 13% from just a year earlier and represented the highest January share in almost a decade. Another factor driving the high cancellation rates is financial uncertainty. While houses prices are dropping significantly from the pandemic peaks, they're still historically high. The median sale price for a home a decade ago was $300,000. According to federal data, today it's $423,000. Tom.
So there's a couple of things going on here, and both of them are bad. 2. 1, you've got this is no longer isolated markets. The mainstream media likes to pick on an isolated market. They've been picking on Tampa, Fort Myers, for 2 years, Pat. We've been watching this, right? But people forget that we had the hurricanes down there. There's rebuilding gone down there, and there's also been an insurance response that makes that area very expensive to insure. And they've been picking on Austin because Austin was hyper-built, and there was all these problems there. You separate those, they're talking about Atlanta, Georgia. They're talking about Atlanta that's having 14%. So these are people getting up to the very moment where you're going to finance the loan, and you have to what's called lock in your loan rate, Vinny. And you also have to, at that point, the bank tells you about P&I, primary mortgage insurance, and whether you need to hold back. And you also look at what the property tax and the insurance is going to be. All of that comes together then, and you know what buyers are saying? 14% were saying, you know what? I don't want to do this. And they're backing out. Or their bank is warning them and saying, you're not going to get the best rate, you're going to get this, because with the property tax and this, your rate's going to be this. And so what we're seeing right now, Pat, is prices starting to move down, and we have more buyers than sellers has been the biggest gap, I think, in 21 years that we've seen this. And my concern is we're starting to see it in big cities like Georgia, which means prices are going to, of the underlying assets are going to start coming down, which is not a bad thing because they're incredibly inflated over 2019 to 2021.
Adam.
Yeah, the K-shaped economy is real. I think that the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the fundamental issue is that most people don't know what the hell they're doing with money. I think there's a major problem that in Congress we have people that have never run a business, that have never been leaders, that never understand finance, running our economy. And these morons in Congress with their all-time low approval ratings are now sitting on, $37 trillion in debt? I look at this U.S. debt clock and I go, how did we get to this point? And there's enough blame to go around for Republicans and Democrats. So from a macro perspective, we are the brokest, richest country in the world, and it's disgusting. But if you zoom in on the microeconomy, on the household economy, the average household in America has about $100,000 in debt, $7,000 in credit card, consumer loans, car loans, credit card loans. People don't know what they're doing with their money, and I wish they did. I wish they taught it better in school. But as we know, when they print money, Pat, where does it flow? To the top. So the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and the wealth gap is bigger than ever. So what can you do? You control the controllable, and you save that money. And what can you do with your own household income? You can't solve the debt crisis. You can't solve the $37 trillion that America owes, but you can control what you do. If you buy a house, you should understand that don't buy more than you can afford. Understand that if you are getting a car, don't buy more car than you can afford. And just understand that your own personal economy and your own personal finance is the most important thing you could focus on.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, listen, here's one thing. If you're buying long-term, good luck predicting what's going to happen to the market. If you're in the long-term game, I've seen more people get their asses handed to them because they try to time the market. They try to time when to buy Bitcoin. They try to time when to buy a house. They try to time when to get into the stock market. Mm-hmm. They try to time. Everything is about, let me find a way to time it. If experts who've been doing this for 40 years don't know how to time, you're not going to know how to time. If you're a long-term investor, and you have the reasons on what you want to do, I'm optimistic. But for some of the people that want to time it, you can sit on the sidelines, and the next thing you know, Trump can come out and announce something, and real estate value goes up, and economy goes up. Now people are saying, why did you recommend me to wait? I'm not telling you to wait or not to wait. I'm just telling you long-term thinking is the solution. Listen, as we're going through this, the one thing that we can't recognize enough for what they do is the armed forces, the folks in the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, every one of these guys on what they're doing. Without them, you and I wouldn't have the freedom that we have to be safe, to go out there and do what we're doing. Sometimes you forget about the military, but if you're somebody that served in the military and you believe the future looks bright, or you have a friend or a family that does, and you want to recognize them, Rob, if you can go up, VT Merch, we have an Armed Force collection. If you can go down a little bit, there's 2 hats that every time we get them, we can't keep them on. That's one of them, but keep going down, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. That one to the right, you see that one zoom in? This one, whenever it comes in, it goes just as quickly.
I love that.
It's an incredible, by the way, if you want to get, the future looks bright, green camo. And then also, Rob, go back if you can. There's another one as well on the bottom left. Keep going, keep going, keep going right there. Those two are two of the most popular hats that we have for folks in the military that word with Future Looks Bright on the right side. So put the link below, Rob. Go to vtmerch.com, place an order, especially at a time like this. Represent our military for the patriotic job that they're doing out there. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.